So good morning, happy Friday, because today is Friday, yep. And yeah, wow. When I finally had to go and just challenge religion yesterday, yeah, I really did. I even said it, you know, because I can't just keep that to myself. I mean, if I were to allow the fear of what someone might say or think or whatever, then I wouldn't be true to whatever I'm doing. And so I think about worshiping and the gods and the dogs, and then reverse engineering everything, because anything can be reverse engineered. You have something that's like right here, like an object, and then you look at what this object is based upon everything else that you see, and then you can reverse engineer anything as long as you know physics and chemistry. And so all I did really with the JJ meta mentality and indefinite life was reverse engineer death to understand what keeps someone alive and what causes the death. And so reverse engineering can happen at any point in time as long as you have the infrastructure and the base platform to know how things work. But even then, when you think you know how things work, you still have to go and research even more on how things actually work, not how somebody else has perceived how things should work based upon their intention. And so when you think about like B cells and T cells, I really had to reverse engineer the immune system. I had to reverse engineer the perception of all the cancer, disease, and chronic illness, because it's layers and layers of programming. You don't see people talk about too much. Well, you hear about B cell lymphoma, but they don't realize that you don't have to keep those B cells that cause lymphoma in your body, that you actually can release them if you understood certain components have been withheld from you. Like they're saying, ooh, have a low sodium diet, and if you're coughing and if you're wheezing, here, take a medicine. And if you don't like to feel the mucus, here, take this, or we'll sew up that. And so then people are not really related to their own immune system. They think that if they get a therapy or some kind of surgery or a pill, that it can just balance them out, because the very superficial, extremely simplistic marketing that you take this and we'll balance you out. You take that, we'll balance you out. I'm going to have to take you with me because my dog will have to go to the restroom. Sugar, we're going to go to the restroom, Sugar. Come on. Come on, we'll go downstairs. And so that's the thing. So when you're reverse engineering somebody else's thought process, then you're deconstructing and reconstructing. And that's where the whole construct is. So anything, come on, Sugar, go downstairs, go. No, Sugar, come on, downstairs. Sugar. So anything that you can construct, okay, anything that can be constructed, it is a con. You can always change. A simulation can always change. And that's based upon just whatever your intention is. And physics and chemistry have to also come into play. And so if you can think of it, this is the thing about imagination, right? If you can think of it, it can be supported through physics and chemistry. It already existed because it existed in your mind. That's why I'm saying that you can develop any kind of simulation through developing new neural pathways. Go downstairs, Sugar. Go downstairs. I'm sorry, I have to get my dog downstairs. Come on, go. Come on, let's go. No, you go downstairs. We have to go potty. You're not pissing up here. And she's a little bit of a bitch. Sometimes when she knows it's raining, sometimes she'll, come on. No, we're going downstairs. We're going outside. Come on. Come here. Hold on a second. Come on, Sugar, come here. Come here. Let's go. We'll go outside. Okay. All right. It's like having a child. Oh, she peed on the landing. Okay. I'm gonna tell you, because she has to pee, and if she finds it easier to pee wherever I let her pee, then she'll pee. So I can't let her pee. But sometimes, like when I'm thinking, like, okay, she just wants to roll around. Nope, she wants to go and pee. So you can construct anything based upon what your mind can develop. And so when you develop new neural pathways, you develop new worlds. Sorry. And so that's what I'm saying. You know, your reality and your existence is as large and as vast as your imagination, and you're willing to support it through physics and chemistry. Come on, sugar. You want to come inside? Let's go. Want to come inside? Come on. You want to come inside, or you want to... Okay, here we go. Oh, Lordy. Okay. This is my routine, like, almost every morning. Sometimes it's easier for her to get out of the bed and do it, but it just depends on how many viruses we had to deal with, and her system is so sensitive. Which is fine, because, I mean, I'm keeping her alive. And then maybe one day when my husband, he says, I'll get a doggy door if she lives for 2 more years, because he thinks she's going to pass away. He thinks just because she's 11 years old that means that she's going to die. Like, just because you're an age doesn't mean that you're going to die or be suddenly mature or be, you know, whatever different milestones that we have put meaning behind as far as age. And so people don't get that all the ages and all the different milestones and birthdays and things that we put meaning behind as far as like, oh, grandma, you know, grandma could be 25 years old. Grandma could be 70 years old. It's all a construct. It can change. Grandma could be 25. Your grandma can be 30. A grandma can be 80. And so when you say, oh, yeah, you drive like a grandma, that doesn't mean anything because you're applying a stereotype. Because nowadays, grandmas can be really young. And so then what do you mean? I'm driving like a 25-year-old? Okay, it doesn't make sense. And so, anyways, and so I'm redefining all the means we apply to ages and numbers and timelines and what we think is healthy and what we think is unhealthy. And so then you realize the B cells and the T cells are the memories. They're the viruses. When I talk about viruses, like the ghosts, viruses are everything. They are what programs people. Some viruses are really influential, and the amount of influence and energy that they elicit, not everybody survives, you know, a viral upload, okay? And if you have enough substance to you, and you keep feeding the viral energy that you're exposed to, you can survive and also be extremely intelligent from your exposure to different viruses. But they're not the enemy. See, that's the problem with the medical holistic system, is they think the viruses are the enemy, and so they're finding every way to kill the virus, which means that they're going to destroy themselves, because guess what? Viruses need a host. The only way a virus can exist is if it's attached to a host, and you're the host. So when you're taking antivirals and antibacterials and anti-inflammatories and anti-whatever, you're destroying and attacking your own body and destroying yourself. And then you're decreasing your own intelligence. That's also what happens out there. Are people they're purposely decreasing their own intelligence, not knowing it because they don't want to feel the pain, the magic. I don't want people purposely hurting themselves so they can feel the magic. Okay? The magic of pain and intelligence is when you take on a virus, that you're exposed to somebody else's intelligence, their data, and you feel the symptoms. You feel the pain inside your body going through reparations. Not somebody purposely hitting you or hurting you or stabbing you or doing anything to violate your boundaries and your physical presence. But when someone's microbe gets into you because your body allowed it to come in, because you took down your tonsils, now you're going to have to deal with some major inflammation, because now you let a little enemy thing come in. Now I'll say the enemy, but it can be, because you're supposed to have defenses. But now eventually at some point you have to regrow those tonsils and also deal with and contend with that little viral microbe that is going to do a bunch of stuff to your body. I could say wreak havoc, yes, for those that don't know how to respond to it. But then you increase your intelligence by regrowing your tonsils. You keep feeding the energy. And then now you won't get as much, like you want to get intelligence, but remember, so much information on someone who can't handle it, people's heads fucking explode. You see it, you saw it the last couple years. When I was giving so much information on Dr. Phil, you know how many heads exploded just watching that fucking show? People could not handle my information. That was too much for them. But hey, a 40-minute program on Dr. Phil is probably better than someone drinking a gallon a day. Okay? So, I mean, there was a little bit of a happy medium where me and Dr. Phil kind of figured out there was a happy medium. Not that we did it on television, but that's the thing. You don't want to get so much information that your head explodes, and you don't want to get not enough information where you're like, you're a robot, you're a zombie. And so you have to take in and transition information. And so transition off information. So when someone is an alcoholic or they're a drug addict or they're so heavily under the prescription drugs in the medical system. Weaning somebody off the medical system is a transition. Getting somebody transitioned back into life from death when they're in cancer, disease, and chronic illness is a fucking transition. Not everybody can handle the transition process because they don't have what it takes to deal with the pain of actually leveling up and becoming whole again. And so the B cells and T cells are the ghosts in our society. They are the murderers in our society. They are the memories. They are everything that we have ever done some kind of movie around. They control people's behaviors. They control your kids' behavior. They control your kids, whether or not their kids want to eat, and they're all finicky and only want to eat McDonald's, and that's it. And they control a kid where the kid's like eating everything with absolutely nothing off the table, but then their body is taking on weight because they're not releasing it because they're taking on so much food. And so all these different lymphocytes, monocytes, lymphocytes, phagocytes, whatever sites, they're all the viruses. Then what programs a person to keep because you have all the, the covalent bonding of the carbs and the fats and the sugars, and then you have a specific operating system, which is a viral operating system that determines what gets taken away, and the food is what codes you. The food is what codes your DNA. It's what codes your heart, your lungs, your kidneys, all of that stuff. And when you take food away or you weaponize food against you, using it as an antibiotic, you have now diminished your diverse food supply. And that's why I said, do not use food as fucking medicine. And then you realize that that's what the medical holistic system is all about, is using food and the elements as medicine, because what else are you going to use? There's nothing else. It's not like we're going to go to Andromeda and say, we're going to use your elements and your plants as medicine. No, you have to take it from your immediate surroundings. So then what happens is that people weaponize their own environment against them. And that's why we have allergy season. When they're using pollen, bee pollen, all the different plant-based therapies, for all the therapies weaponized against someone's immune system, weaponized against their DNA, and then the body built a defense, and then it becomes an allergy in somebody else, and even in that same person, when they get exposed to that same protein that the body thinks is an enemy. And so then weaning somebody off of the mentality of antibiotics, of all the chemotherapy, radiation, all that stuff, is a transition. And not everybody can actually handle the transition or wants to do it. And so let them rest in peace or slide into peace if you think it's that. Dying is not peaceful. Let me tell you, dying is downright painful. And that's why there's a huge cures market, because people are trying to find the best way to die without dying. That's literally what goes on when you're trying to partake in the medical holistic system, is people want to die without dying. And they're trying to do that. They're trying to make robots. Here, put your consciousness in a body that's made up of all these different contraptions, so you don't feel pain, but you still can enjoy things like robots. Well, okay, I guess I can see that justification of why they have transhumanism. Because we're suffering from having to deal with other people's microbes. We're trying to release the mucus and trying to repair the damage from those microbes that sometimes attack us because of the programming. And it would be awesome if I could live forever, right? And not feel any pain and still be able to touch stuff and feel stuff and experience stuff and eat stuff. Because I'm gonna tell you, if I live on this earth forever and not be able to eat, but just feel and see things and smell things, that would be torture. I want my five senses. I want to eat and smell and eliminate. Well, if you have to eat, you have to eliminate. Okay? At least in this simulation. Will there be a simulation where there is no eating, no eliminating, and you're just existing? Well, that's the robot races, and people are like, oh my God. But I'll tell you, the pain of living is great. Yes. If you hadn't had so many people on this earth, it won't be as painful, because you won't have to keep evolving to somebody else. That's why the Georgia Guidestones is like that, because when you finally are not cured and you're not chasing after cures, trying to rest in peace while still being alive, the less people you have on this earth will be more of a harmony with the infinite. So you have to understand there's an actual logic to the Georgia Guidestones, because you know now, when you're on the J juice, that if you are around 7.9 billion people mutating viruses left and right, taking their antibiotics and all their cures, and you're getting the microbial attacks if you're doing the JJ metametallic property and you're feeling the mucus and you're feeling the headaches and whatever else that you haven't fully reconciled with, you're just like, dude, man, I'm tired of people. Please, Georgia Guidestones, please hurry up, because I'm tired of dealing with everybody's idiosyncrasies. I'm tired of dealing with everybody's microbes, everybody's conflicts, everybody's issues, microbial issues, as well as emotional issues, because drama also comes along when the immune system is activated. And so then you realize that's why the New World Order is trying to scale down the population, because 7.9 billion people at war with each other, at the microbial war with each other, and religiously and politically and spiritually, it's hell. This is the hell on earth, is when you have 7.9 billion people at different states of declines, and the cures are wearing off or don't work anymore, or else you will kill everybody with all the cures. And so then you realize, okay, that's why things are the way they are, and you have to survive this simulation. You think that if you pass away, you're going to end up back here or some other simulation? It's a gamble anyone can take. If you believe there's other simulations out there with more advanced technology, you can call them aliens or whatever. But yeah, I mean, if you can think it up, it's already happened or been happening. If you can see it on TV, it's already happened or been happening. Why isn't that you're experiencing it? Because the collective right now have trouble even dealing with salt. So you think they can actually have an idea that to see that there's actually other different life forms out there that are probably more advanced. And I'm not saying that they're better or worse. It's just that it's simulations. And it pisses me off that someone keeps information from me. I hated it when my parents didn't tell me everything when I asked them questions, because it was none of my business about their finances or whatever, which I understand, that's fine. But I mean, if you don't know everything about the world that you live in, and you know something is not right, and then you feel like you've been lied to, but someone's trying to protect me, right? Because if I knew the full story, then I'd be like, well, what's the point of doing this? What's the point of going to work? What's the point of doing this? Or if I went outside of my of my usual thing and I became smart, right? And I started writing stuff and became really smart, and then I surpassed my parents. My parents would be like, well, what the hell? You didn't have to go to college to be successful. You didn't have to go to college to be something, right? And so it'd take away the meaning of their life and what they've achieved. Because if I could achieve something without going to college, then they would see it as negating whatever they instilled in me, negating everything they've ever done, which I'm doing right now. I'm negating everything that they've ever done as far as chemistry. There is no better life through chemistry. There's better life through understanding salt, water, sugar, and food, and adapting and not taking fucking drugs all the time and taking out organs. Because that's why people have MS and cancer and disease and chronic illness and all this other shit, because they allowed the B cells and T cells to cannibalize them. They're starving on all their different fucking diets, and every single time they get a pain, they're going to the doctor, getting experimented on. Well, I just negated everything, and no wonder they don't like what I'm doing, because I just negated everything they did. So, okay, maybe that's the reason why also the Vatican and all the other people out there, they're like, well, we want to have some kind of control. And every religion, I don't care what it is, Christianity, Judaism, Muslim, whatever, it's like exerting control over a population. But I understand law and order, but do you have to have religion and have to have spirituality to have law and order? You can still say, we believe in life, and everybody has a choice to how they want to live their life, so as long as it's not breaking the law. Next, maybe you needed the 10 Commandments or whatever to give like a foundation, but that's all. The whole politics, religion, science, and all of that have to be tied together along with all the different texts and everything. And so maybe you don't have to have the 10 Commandments to substantiate why you have the laws of do not kill and do not envy and do not covet thy neighbor's wife and do not do this and that, whatever. But I mean, but you look at all the marriages and all the different weddings and the institution of weddings and divorces and funerals. There's so much money in it. It's like insane the amount of money. And so then you're like, well, let's just create a construct and then let's just commodify every aspect of a person's life. Commodify their birth, commodify even when they conceive, and then you have all the dating sites and then every aspect, every turn you make, everything is commodified. There's a dollar sign in everything you touch in your house. There's a dollar sign on it. There's a dollar sign on your kid, and everything they do, there's a dollar sign on your child. So when you commodify 7.9 billion people's lives and everything they do, that's multi-trillion-dollar corporations. That's a massive amount of control exerted on 7.9 billion people's lives, and then their children's lives, and their children's lives. And then you institute, the whole family, and now you're getting the kids on board and getting commodified and experimented on, and then brought into a system of major, of capitalism. And so you see what the money train is. It's in the children, it's in the parents who just don't fucking get it. It's in everyone that believes in these dogmas. And then when you realize that you don't have to believe that shit anymore, you realize it's just a simulation that and then you're just like, God dang, what a farce. What a construct. What a construct. And then you look at then you look at people's immune systems, the B cells and T cell memories. And I've been dreaming the last couple of nights. And I'm thinking, because I got exposed to another virus, right? And so I'm taking on someone's memories. When I'm not exposed to someone's virus or have some kind of weird infection, I don't have those memories, right? Those dreams. But I had some pretty crazy dreams this last week and so, and that's from all from the infection. Okay? So understand that your dreams, the universe, is all in here. It's all the B cells and T cell memories. It's all the viral operating systems you've been exposed to. And so it's just like, it's crazy. And when you know this and everyone else is living their completely predictable lives, spouting off their scripts, going through the machination. Yeah, I know you have to make money, but you can make money and still know what's going on. And then you don't work yourself to death. You don't work yourself to death and sacrifice yourself to somebody else. You're not then all tied into the material shit. You're not tied into looking like an image. And then you save yourself from somebody else's exploitation of your body, mind, and spirit. That's truly what it comes down to, is then you're not, and that's kind of where the system is going. They force that through the pandemic. They force everyone to finally calm down and stop being so goddamn greedy. Now we have a virus and keep your ass at home if you want. And if you don't, then you'll become cannibalized by your lifestyle. Because the amount of microbes that are swirling in the environment are cannibalizing people. Left and fucking right. I know I've been swearing lately, but I'm just like, jeez. Okay, so the system is trying to calm people down from their greed. From their craziness. Because we're eventually heading into that direction of 500 million or the Georgia Guidestones. And it's a transition. And there's going to be a lot of people accelerating their lifespan and shortening it. And yeah, they'll pray on their way out, and that's fine. Then they think they're going to go to another simulation called heaven or hell. Okay, fine. Anyways, I'm going to go. Bye.